Hello and welcome to your new favorite podcast, one that doesn't quite have a name, and that's probably because you've got two guys in one pod who are both notorious for selecting the longest and worst names on social media. Mark Flex marks the spot, and myself, Jason, or man underscore who underscore parks underscore in underscore gym. See, I had to think about it. That's how bad it was, right? MW Pig also doesn't break down any cooler, but anyway, here we are. So podcast, we're trying something new. It's so new that we, like I said, haven't quite landed on a name yet. And that, is something that's to come, kind of something that we're just decided to kind of do, see where it goes, see if it goes anywhere or not. And just wanted to kind of get together and talk about a few things. It's November, about a week into Matte Black Friday, and Mark and I were talking about how incredibly underwhelmed we think we might feel with some of the sales, and just wanted to kind of get some of these thoughts on the pod and put it out there to see if anybody else feels the same.
Yeah, so like Jason mentioned here, or M Pig as I usually refer to him in my head when I think about him. I usually disregard the W. We're just trying something out here. We're usually talking about all this stuff in the DMs anyway, and figured, hey, why not just try to make some content out of it, since we both kind of struggle to put out any content, regularly outside of just little short things here and there that are usually really wordy as it is. So why not just record it? So yeah, Black Friday, for the most part, I mean, from what I've seen, it seems pretty standard from how it's been the last couple of years. It just seems like a lot of the accessory type things, like add-on, like rack attachments, like med balls, and things like that. It's what most companies are at least have as of right now. It's not even really a Black Friday sale these days. It seems like everyone is just doing like a November type thing, and they keep it consistent, and the standard messaging for the most part, from what I've seen, is they don't really look to, or they're putting the message across that, hey, like anything we have on sale now isn't going to be any better on Black Friday, so you should just buy now. So it just kind of seems like it's 10 to 20% ish, depending on what it is, but it's usually not like big ticket, like
Right.
door busting type things.
Right. And I get it, with some of the big ticket, like for example, with Rep, right? I mean, some of their really sought after items, they're already kind of on a back order. They've been catching some flack lately for the things that they've taken orders on and pushing out delivery dates and things like that. So I know
not for me and my stories.
Rep learned a lot during COVID, I think, about doing that. And I know that they have worked really hard to try to alleviate some of that frustration that people feel. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get that kind of stuff. So I definitely appreciate them not putting that kind of stuff on the Black Friday deal. Mm-hmm. I just know, like for me, I feel really underwhelmed, and I didn't know if it's because I'm so far into this. Like, have I been like, am I this far off the deep end when it comes to home gym equipment and Black Friday sales and things like that, that like, I have a buddy of mine who's been holding out for a man array bench from Rogue for the last couple of months. He finally pulled the trigger like in October. And I was like, man, if you buy it beforehand and it happens to go on sale, I guarantee you they will give you back like the difference. Like I've done that before, like it just by happenstance, right? They will help you out in that way. If you get it like within a couple of days of November or whatever, but I was pretty adamant it wasn't going to be there. I was like, man, it's going to be like slam balls. It's going to be kettlebells, weight vests, jump ropes, mismatched socks, shaker bottles, a bunch of stuff that like, maybe if you're like, just, if in 2020, that stuff would have been like flying off the shelves. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's just me, if everybody else feels the same way or whatever, but like Black Friday came around. I was I'm not even that interested in looking at some of this stuff, but I'm like, sitting on the toilet, flipping through 6 pages of like hot deals, just going like, really, Bill? You know what I mean? Like everyone, like Bill Henniger himself is the one that, puts these pages together or whatever. But it's just kind of how, I mean, there are so many others that I haven't even really looked at. But yeah, you're right. A lot of it I think has to do with being an entire month and that feeling of like is this it? Is there, or sometimes, they change things up. Are they going to do something better next week? I know Titan did that last year. I don't know if they're doing that this year or not, but you remember like every couple of days
I
or
think they're
something
just
like that.
cycling new things in and out.
Right. Yeah.
Although
So
I don't know, I haven't really seen anyone complain about like Titan, like at least this year jacking up the prices like a week or two beforehand, and then
the Amazon thing.
discounting it back to the normal price. So I don't know if that's the case. To be honest, I'm not really looking at their stuff that closely these
Yeah,
days.
I haven't been. They haven't been doing. I mean, I've not been that excited about anything from Titan since I received my first item from them. I think, but I haven't been paying attention. I don't follow. I don't think I follow them. I don't know. I really I don't absorb as much content as what my screen time reflects that I would. You know what I mean? I think it just hits my retina, and I don't actually receive any of it. But so that, and then what was the other? It was another Black Friday thing that I was thinking of. I can't think of what it was. But yeah, pretty. Oh, actually, not a Black Friday thing. I think it was today. Bells of Steel. Did they show their pre-order or start taking pre-orders or whatever for their rack-mounted?
The Smith
machine thing. Yeah, with like you can use your own barbell and stuff. That's one of the things that I really like about the Bulletproof VTS thing. I think that's pretty cool feature that you can do that and use your barbell and stuff. And I guess because it's not fixed width or whatever, it can work in a variety of racks like Rep and Titan and Rogue or whatever. So that's
cool. I was reading through the spec sheet, and I think like they said that it'll fit most racks as long as they fall within a certain height spec. The only thing that I don't know for sure on it is I think the max height they had on the spec sheet was a 90-inch rack. So I don't know if that like eliminates,
right?
Or I guess Rogue's 90, huh? It's Rep that's 93. So
right, yeah.
I think it covers mostly everyone. And actually, Bells of Steel, they intentionally made their stuff to be cross compatible with Rogue. So I guess, that literally just dropped today. I mean, I guess technically they said for VIP access members, but I'm sure that's just what they sent to everyone.
I just saw someone had sent that like a screenshot or whatever. I've always liked the Smith machines. It's been one of those things that's like it's hard to justify in a home gym. I'm glad that that's one of the things that people are starting to integrate into racks or make like the Bulletproof thing, that we're able to kind of get those without taking up a bunch of extra space and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know, doesn't really have anything to do with Black Friday itself or whatever, but I've also been switching gears here on you, but I've always been asking, I keep asking this question about the home gym community, and are there any other, I mean, I know that there are nerds like us that have a different passion, right? Like whether it be, cars or something like that or whatever. But I also have recently reintroduced golf into my life, and in sifting through some of those golfer communities and stuff, I can see a lot of glaring similarities there between that and like home gym. And one of the things that I've noticed that is a little bit different, and it may be just because like the nature of golf products and stuff like that is just that you don't have as many small companies building stuff out of their garage that gets, a lot of steam and picks up and has a communal following like what you get in the home gym stuff, right? You don't have people playing golf in their garage. I mean, other than like simulators, but they're doing that so that they can go out and play. And it's such a social sport and stuff like that. So the online community with that is a little bit different in that way. Like I haven't seen anything since I've been kind of getting more and more involved in that where I haven't seen anything where I've seen kind of the same reaction of outrage to stuff whenever there are like, I mean, in golf and in sports and things like that, borrowing, stealing ideas, taking ideas and stuff like that from others and integrating them into your own stuff is commonplace. I mean, it is just part of it. Right. So I was surprised a little bit to see that there are some like where this, like for one very small example in this segment was there's a putter company called Lab Golf, stands for Lie Angle Balance. They have used this technology to balance the golf club, the putter club head in a way that keeps the face of it, square all through your swing or whatever, and on impact. Supposed to help you hit the ball straighter and stuff like that. And now, after 10 years or so, there are other companies that are starting to utilize that same technology. Some of the purists in lab are you can see where they go onto the other pages and stuff, and kind of give them some shit about not giving credit to lab or whatever for using that technology. And then I've also seen other people come to their defense and saying, well, that technology has been out for a decade before lab was a company and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting how similar that is in the home or to the home gym community, but yet different in that I think because maybe it's so much bigger and so much more widely accepted and stuff that you don't see that same kind of like mob mentality outrage where they, bully companies into submission, whenever they recognize that.
Right.
So yeah, I just went completely off the rails, but
Hey, you brought it back full circle. So
yeah,
yeah, there you go.
All right.
But no, yeah. Speaking of like the Black Friday thing, I don't know if you've seen like I launched a website like a year ago and have not done anything on it in like almost exactly a year until this page. So
Yeah,
I
nice.
used AI to generate a picture of myself because I was too lazy to actually take a picture. So yeah, have this Black Friday page I put together. Table of contents here that kind of shows everything that I have, like category
Awesome.
types. Obviously, affiliate disclosure that
Right.
everyone should have. If somebody's referring you to a Black Friday page and they don't have that, just something to
Right.
keep in mind. Another very generalized thing about Black Friday that doesn't matter. It's kind of talking about how I'm organizing the list. So what I did, I try to be a little bit different than like what some of the other guys are doing. Usually they have like the company like logo and they have a little description like, hey, reps doing rack week, and
Right.
10% off off of your card if you buy a rack and so forth. So what I did was I put all this together in a Google Sheet. So I learned how to use a web scraper this weekend, and I scraped a lot of the deals pages off of these websites, and I compiled a big list of all of the individual products here. So if we were to
Nice.
actually read what I said, you can click here and you can go to the sheet itself, and there we go. So here it has literally everything that is on sale for all of these particular manufacturers. So even though I'm using a web scraper and I'm not like manually inputting everything, it is a pretty manual process. So I don't
Yeah.
have every manufacturer as of yet. Like there's Rogue, Rep, Bells of Steel, GetRx, X Master. Try searching X Master without the fitness and tell me what your search results are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found that out through experience. But yeah, so the way I have it set up here is have it in order from highest percentage that they're marking it off, descending down to the lowest amount. Have the product name, the category. More or less, these are going to be hopefully right. Again, I'm doing all of this off spreadsheets, so I'm just kind of spot checking a lot of this. The company,
Yeah.
if there's a discount code applicable, and what the price is, like the starting price, because most of these things have ranges, and in order to standardize this data, it was not very easy to do.
So
Like if there was a
can
big
you
price range.
like Control F or Apple F on that page if you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
oh, cool,
There's
cool, cool.
something you want
Like
to
if a person's like
control F
knows,
for.
yeah, like if they, well, you're right. Like if you want to know, like if you know that what you're looking for is at Rogue or something like that, but it's maybe, you know, yeah, there you go. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, so there, or you want to look at, um, and another thing here is I literally just added these today, these little filters, which isn't really filters, it's just hyperlinks to the sub pages that I'm manually compiling.
Right. Right.
So let's say like you only want to look at specialty bars, right? Obviously, I love specialty bars, so that's what I would go to immediately. I think I need to share this tab instead. There we go. So now it's sorted here, so it'll show just the specialty bars. So some of these, which it's interesting, Rogue still has these on their deals pages, which I was surprised buy these, but like, did you see that they had their
I did.
MG4 in grab bag?
I did, and I also so they had that like a couple of weeks before November actually kicked off at $100. They sold out pretty quick, and so I was a little. I
Hmm.
felt it felt a little bit like I don't know, like they were padding their Black Friday deals or something like that by leaving those on there and already having it
Yeah,
as a missed deal like immediately because it was missed like 3 weeks before Matt Black
right.
Friday ever kicked off. But yeah,
And
I
you
did
know
notice
what?
that and was surprised.
Yeah, and I been debating taking these off the list, but I mean, I feel like I'm using a little bit of clickbait there because it definitely like it draws attention. You're like, oh wow, like if you didn't know that these came out 3 weeks ago, I feel
Right.
like you're more inclined to look through the list if you kind of see some of these. So I don't know if that's a little disingenuous at this point, So I might take them off here, as we get closer to Black Friday. But I think now that I'm in the first couple of days of rolling this out, and it literally took me like 5 days straight of like just working on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get as many eyes on it as possible before I
Right.
before
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I take those off. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, so that's more or less how the web page is set up. So if you want to go to any of these categories quick, you could do that at the very top. If you see something that I don't have on the list, which there's quite a bit as of right now, shoot me an email or message me on Instagram. There's links to one of those there. But then also, if you don't want to go out to like a external web page, all of this is embedded here, so you could just kind of scroll
Nice.
through. And if you
Yeah.
keep going down, you have the company pages. So this is kind of what everyone else usually does. When they're like, "Hey, GetRx is having up to 50% off deals now." So click here; it'll take you to uh, their deal page, as well as if there's any discount codes that are available on these sites. Which shameless plug. All of these that have discount codes are affiliates. So
Right.
FYI. And then, yeah, and then from there, we're just kind of going down the category list if you don't want to open up a bunch of separate tabs. And then I think some of these just take a little bit to load. There we go. Then at the end, there's the little write up, it's like, hey, do you need to buy now? Like why shop now? So just basically saying we have a little, that they're doing discounts. When's the best time? I mean, either now or the summer. Usually there's not really any big sales. Everything's kind of random.
Right.
Otherwise, what's going to be on sale? So kind of what we mentioned before. I don't know if we were recording when we talked about that. Like newer flagship items are not likely to be part of these doorbuster sales.
Right.
At
Right.
most, if they are, they're going to be like 10% off and lumped in with cart discounts. And then another thing, if somebody happens to be looking at this uh, before the actual day of Black Friday, kind of what you mentioned here. So if something you want is on sale now, but then it ends up being on a bigger sale on Black Friday. Actually, I don't think I have anything that they will where I said they'll probably price match. But yeah, I'll probably include that here. But like usually they're not going to discount something even more if it's discounted earlier in the month.
Yeah, and also even if they do, I wouldn't expect it to be much. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of the mindset, and maybe I'm just frivolous and love to just waste money or something or to roll the dice. But the way I think of it is like depending on what it is. I mean, if it's if they drop it down like 10% or something like that, they're not going to discount it again significantly enough to risk missing out on the item altogether or even missing out on your 10% discount that they're not going to drop
Exactly.
it down to even if it's, I mean, if you're talking about a you know $100 item or whatever that's 10%, you're talking about $10. At most, if they dropped it down to like 20% or whatever, you're talking about like another $10 maybe. I just get the stupid thing,
Hmm.
and you know what I mean. Like that's kind of how I roll on that. But
Exactly. No, 100% agree. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Like I guess um, like on the page itself, like um, I've talked to a few of these people or a few of the companies, like, and it seems like everything's pretty much here for the bigger companies, but some of the smaller ones actually, like some of them that are here and some of them that I haven't had a chance to list yet. They did mention that they will actually have a little bit of an extra thing on Black Friday, but
mm,
it's usually the smaller, more niche type things,
it's
not necessarily the. like
Right.
the Rogues, the Bells of Steels, or Titans. You know.
Right. I think that, you know, the entire month of November sales thing. I mean, I know it's not unique to the home gym community or whatever, but it's definitely not as widespread as what the home. If you only looked at like home gym sales, I don't think that the entire month of November is just discount month for most other industries and stuff. I know it's not
Hmm.
for the other, you know, goofy stuff that I'm into. You know, you got to wait. Sometimes they'll do it like the week of, you know, or something like, or a few days or something like that. But I think in the home gym space, kind of one of the things that I feel like I've learned from this is that because they do this, they have these companies, people are spending their money beginning of November and kind of throughout November. By the time actually Black Friday itself hits, people are kind of burned out on, you know, spending
Hmm.
money, or they've, you know, kind of gone through all their stuff that they've saved up for, you know, for Matt November, or for, you know, Black November or whatever you want to call it. And that, I mean, that's what I've seen anyway. So I wouldn't expect it to get better by, you know, that 3 weeks in, for, you know, 3.5 weeks into the month than what it is at the beginning for the most part.
Hmm.
And a lot of times with those smaller companies, if you reach out to them, I've learned that, you know, they'll tell you whether or not they're going to do anything for, you know what I mean? Just tell them like, hey, you know, I'm really trying to hold out, whatever, you know, are you planning anything for Black Friday? And they'll tell you like, you know, shoot them an IM or whatever. And they'll usually tell you whether or not they have something in mind that, you know,
Yeah.
that's also
Exactly.
my experience with the smaller ones, like Rep and Rogue and stuff may not, I don't know, but some of the smaller guys will tell you. So I got a question for you. Website looks great, man. What drives people to it?
Nothing as of right now.
Hmm.
I revamped it last year because I was struggling to make content, you know, like videos, like whether or not they were short form or long form for like videos. And I figured anytime I did put anything out, I was just super into the captions, you know, like I had the longest, most drawn out uh, text wall that nobody was going to read. So I was like,
Yeah.
hey, I should probably put this on a website.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then that way I could just, you know, put out some thoughts and just link the videos here into the website. And, you know, hopefully somebody Googles something instead. Like, I don't know, like the Prime Super Squat Bar review, you know, that I've like done many reviews of on my Instagram plenty of times, you know, but like
Yeah. Well, according,
no, but yeah,
yeah.
nobody knows anything about it until coincidentally, you know, Cook
Yeah.
finally did this week. But you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of why the website kind of came to be. And then
Right.
since last year, because it literally like went live like in like November of 23. I haven't touched it just because I haven't had time. So yeah, to answer your question, nothing is driving traffic to it yet. So I have it linked in my bios and stuff now instead of having like a little link tree. So hopefully that will at
Yeah.
some point.
Have you seen, I'm just curious, have you seen an increase in activity on your super squat bar reviews and things like that since people now, since all of a sudden, since it's the bar that nobody's been, the best bar that nobody's been talking about or whatever, like,
Right.
have you seen new traffic or anything like that on your,
Uh, no, because haven't put anything about it on the site
oh, okay.
at
Okay. I
all.
thought you had,
So
I was thinking you
like,
had like a YouTube or something like that with it, something that was searchable.
yeah, actually, I don't even know. Like, I know I've put out some videos on it.
I know. Yeah. I was gonna say, I know
I
you
think
put out
like
some like TikToks and maybe Instagram or
yeah,
something
I've
like that.
repurposed. So let me try searching Prime Super Squat Bar, see what pops up. So Kaz, Joe Gray's review. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of Prime promo videos. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I do see my short on there.
Yeah.
One of my YouTube short on that. I don't even remember making this one to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question there, no, have not gotten any
No, no.
additional traffic on that. The last comments, there's 5 comments on it that were all from a year ago.
Mm.
And it has 1.4 thousand views. Although, uh, yeah, yeah. So nothing really recent on it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, although I mean, I do agree with Coop that it is the best part that no one's talking about. But you know, the only reason, I mean, no, I'm not gonna say anything to get me in trouble, actually. Or maybe you can, if I say something that'll get his attention, he can call me out and direct traffic to my page, right? Like,
yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The only reason nobody's been talking about it is because they haven't had a strong
code.
affiliate program.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
mm-hmm.
Code. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
Prime hasn't had a strong affiliate program until
Mm-hmm.
December of last year. Is whenever they kind of
Mm-hmm.
opened it up. They had a couple of very select people before, which were not like content creators for the most part, but then they opened up this Prime Athlete thing like back in December, and um, it kind of, they're starting to get more attention in that way. And so, yeah, that's why nobody talks about it. I don't know why that's a big secret. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like for content creators, it's a lot of time. It takes a lot of money and resources and things like that. And when you build a big following, it gets really difficult to expect those people to like lend those things to products out of the kindness of their heart. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Exactly.
but it is a weird thing that makes the content creation space and the review pages and stuff like that. It's what gives it that kind of dirty feel. Do you know what I mean? Like where it
Mm-hmm.
feels like they only, because they say, well, I'm not biased, or this is my unbiased review or whatever. But everybody has like an inherent bias, right? Like I was biased toward Prime stuff before I had an affiliation with Prime. I was already buying the stuff. I had to buy. So naturally, I'm going to like it. I'm going to tell you that I like it. I'm going to talk about it as much as I can get someone to, stop and listen to me or whatever. And it gets that way. I think if it's when you say, I'm trying to take out my own personal interests out of it and stuff, well, your bias then becomes like, if you're kind of hoarding every affiliate link that is available, your bias might become just to those things that are willing to work with you as an affiliate. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm only talking
Mm-hmm.
about every time I do a safety squat bar video, it's only, because I have, 7 or 8 affiliations with companies that make safety squat bars, I can do a pretty extensive one and cover all the people that I have affiliations with and leave out the other ones. You know what I mean? And it still looks like a good, thorough review and unbiased and all that stuff, but the bias is built in by the affiliations themselves. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it makes sense to me. I get it. I understand it. And but it is one of those things that does it. It's a weird kind of black eye, I think, on the social media content creator
Right. No, yeah. And
thing.
yeah, no, and definitely like I mean, like with Coop, you know, obviously he's like the whole reason that he's uh, doing what he's doing, you know, even now is, you know, because they have or not the whole reason he's doing it, you know, but like a lot of, you know, like the stuff that they put out now, like even if it's not him, you know, and it's like the garage and reviews everything, you know, it's because they have a whole group of people they got to support, you know, they have these
Right.
employees
Right.
on payroll, so you know they can't, you know, really be spending a lot of time and resources on things that don't necessarily have, you know, any sort of, you know,
Right.
ROI.
Right. Yeah. 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 It is what it is. I wish that was more transparent. Do you know what I mean? Because that's one of those things that whenever I try to like, I always sound like the crazy old man whenever I'm like, well, like it's yes, but you know what I mean? Like you have to consider all these other variables that you're not getting, you know what I mean? Like there are other things that, like just the safety squat bar is like a really good example, right? There are a lot of other ones to consider, a lot of other ones to talk about without ever even having to mention the ones that nobody's talking about, right? The best ones that nobody's talking about or whatever. But it's when I start bringing that stuff up, I feel like I sound like that crotchety old guy that, is against the big social media influencers or whatever. And it's not really how I feel. I mean, I get it. Like I said, I understand it and whatever. I just wish that was more transparent, I guess, more so than,
Yeah, and,
than the
yeah, and
affiliate link disclaimer at the top of a thing like that. I agree with that too. I get that. And it makes sense to me and whatever, but even the other stuff, I wish that was more transparent to people because I don't.
yeah, and I think people are doing a little bit better of a job at that too. Like I don't watch every garage review video like these days, but like whenever I do happen to tune into one, like I don't know if it's a recent thing, but at least maybe the past year, I feel like he's always like saying, "Hey, and just a heads up, we do have an affiliation here. They sent it to us. It doesn't affect our review of this bar or this
Right.
product, but just know, like if you do use the links in our bio, it does give us a cut, doesn't charge you anything extra. That being said, let's get to it, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, at least there's that now, and I don't know if anyone's ever like if that's like a newer thing or if that's always kind of been the case, so I mean, but with that, like I guess you also get kind of like what's the word I'm looking for, like self-righteous, like I guess if you kind of keep you might come across a little self-righteous if you're just like every 3 sentences also saying like, oh, and by the way, like I have an affiliate here, so I'm going to be honest,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm gonna be honest about this. I'm not too crazy about it, but just know I'm being honest. And I feel like the people who always have to keep reiterating that they're honest, to me it comes off
right.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're trying to condition me to think you're being honest, so that's making me think you're not really honest.
Right. Yeah. I try to get that. My kid uses that expression. My oldest daughter uses that expression a lot where she'll say like, to be honest, or if I'm being honest, or, you know what I mean? Or honestly. And I'm like, well, yeah, honestly, you should, everyone, if you have to preface everything you say with that, then I'm going to assume that everything you don't preface with that is dishonest. You know what I mean? Like, not really, but it is an expression, and that is the, essentially what you're telling me, you know what I mean? And the more you tell me that, the more I'm wondering why you have to tell me you're being honest. Just do it. But